Investing and casting. Arriving at a completed casting after fabrication of a wax pattern involves three main steps. Investing, surrounding the wax pattern with a material that can accurately duplicate its shape and anatomical features. Burnout, removal of the wax pattern so that a mold is created into which the molten alloy can be placed. And casting, introducing the molten alloy into the previously prepared mold. Sprue formers, casting ring, crucible former, sticky wax, investment material, cellulose ring liner, surface tension reducing agent, rubber ball, and mixing spatula. A 10-gauge sprue former is attached to the wax pattern at its point of greatest bulk, avoiding central occlusal contacts. It is attached at an angle to allow molten alloy to flow freely to all portions of the mold. The sprue former also should not be constricted at its attachment to the wax pattern. The best castability and least porosity is produced by a sprue former wax pattern junction that is either straight or slightly flared. For removal of the wax pattern from the die, it is lightly grasped on the proximal surfaces with the thumb and forefinger of the left hand, with care taken not to exert any pressure on the sprue former. The die is held between the thumb and forefinger of the right hand, which are gently squeezed together, and the pattern is removed. The free end of the sprue former is now attached to a conical rubber base called the crucible former. With a PKT number 1 instrument, a small bead of pliable sticky wax is dropped into the proposed site of attachment on the pattern. The sprue former is placed into the molten bead of sticky wax. The sprue former should be just long enough so that the highest point on the wax pattern will be 6 mm from the end of the ring. If the pattern is too close to the end of the ring, the molten alloy may blast through the investment during casting. If it's too far, gases may not escape rapidly enough to permit complete filling of the mold with alloy. To provide adequate bulk of alloy during solidification, the sprue itself should be no longer than 6 mm. Painting the wax pattern with a surface tension reducing agent allows the investment to flow uniformly and smoothly over all areas of the pattern, helping to eliminate casting bubbles. A metal casting ring with diameter of 32 mm is used. A resilient liner made of cellulose paper is placed on the inside of the ring to provide a buffer of pliable material against which the investment can expand, to enlarge the mold in order to compensate for metal shrinkage upon solidification. It also permits easy removal of the investment in casting from the ring after casting. The liner should be 3 mm short of both ends of the ring, so that the investment will be partially supported by direct contact with ring after the liner has burned out. The ring is rotated firmly onto the crucible former with care taken to avoid snapping movements or contact of the wax pattern with the ring. The manufacturer's instructions should be followed in mixing the investment. In order to obtain consistently accurate castings, the correct powder-liquid ratio must be used. First, pre-mix powder and liquid thoroughly by hand with a spatula. Be sure that all of the powder is completely wetted by the liquid to produce a uniform mixture. Then, mix for 60 seconds under vacuum 320 to 420 RPM. Invest using a thin stream of material and low-frequency gentle vibration. Once the ring is filled, stop the vibration immediately, and do not touch the investment until completely set, which usually takes 20 to 30 minutes. After complete setting of the investment material at the top of the investment ring will normally have a smooth glazed appearance. This must be scraped with a sharp knife to create a slightly roughened, porous surface. This allows for an easier escape of gases during both the burnout and casting procedures. The crucible former is then removed. Burnout prepares the mold for the molten alloy and allows thermal expansion to occur. This is done by placing the ring in the burnout oven and heating it slowly to the casting temperature for about 1 hour. The ring should be set crater up about 10 minutes before the casting is made. This allows oxygen to contact the internal area of the mold to ensure complete wax residue elimination. The mold is now ready for casting. In this video, an induction centrifugal casting machine is used. The crucible is placed in its bracket on the arm of the casting machine. The casting alloy is placed in the crucible. Enough bulk of metal must be used in casting to fill the mold, the sprue, and part of the crucible former, to ensure sharp and complete details in the casting. No more than 30 seconds should be allowed to elapse between the time the ring is removed from the oven and the molten alloy is centrifuged into the mold. Any undue delay will cause heat loss and resultant mold contraction. The mold is placed in the cradle of the casting machine. The machine is allowed to spin until it has slowed enough that it can be stopped by hand, and the ring is removed with casting tongs. After the red glow has disappeared from the bottom, the casting ring is plunged under running cold water. Trimming is done from the bottom end of the ring. The casting should appear smooth with a dull dark oxide layer. The oxide layer and other remaining particles of the investment should be removed by lightly air braiding all the surfaces. A 1.5-inch diameter cut-off disc is used to remove the sprue. The contouring of the surfaces where the sprues were attached is completed with the number 8 aluminum oxide coral wheel on a mandrel. The internal aspect of the casting is examined for small nodules of metal. They are removed with a number 330 burr in a high-speed handpiece. When all such defects as well as all investments have been removed, the casting is tried on the working cast. If it binds, the casting is removed. The inside of the restoration is examined for particles of stone or smudges of dye relief agent. Any that are found are removed with the number 330 burr. Ideally, the casting should touch the dye only in the marginal region. There should be a slight gap everywhere else for the future cement film. The occlusal grooves are smoothed with the number 1 carbide burr. The rough finishing on all accessible areas is then performed with the number 8 aluminum oxide coral wheel. The casting is smoothed with blue rubber wheels and mounted points.